Wineiacs, wisdom wanderers, men, women of all ages, genders, lifestyles, everything in between. This is Wine and Wisdom. I am your host, the Matt Kane, and this week, holy shit, I am joined by a legend. I am joined by someone very, very near and dear to my heart. This is my pops. This is my dad, Tom Kane. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, everybody.
It took a while to get you here, but we're here.
Yeah.
Are you excited? You pumped?
I'm ready, baby. Ready to tell you about Juju.
Juju. All right.
Pam on Juju.
We're already started. Pam on Juju.
On Juju.
This is great. This is awesome. I can't wait to learn. That's the premise of this show, is to learn from each other and to learn from you. We can both grow, and those of you that are watching on YouTube or listening on via a podcast app platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts, that's through Spotify, or maybe that's through Anchor, our host. Speaking of, I don't do a very good job of this, so let me try. Subscribe, leave a like, leave us a rating or review. That just helps get this out to more people, because I feel like this is a great benefit to many.
Yes.
Right. The premise of the show is to meet behind the veil as two human beings, and really, kind of trace the scars of life to glean the wisdom from our experiences, so that we can better ourselves, so we can grow and we can help others grow. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
All whilst drinking wine.
Right.
So, without further ado, this is the first segment of our show. I'm drinking the finest of $5.
$5.
I'm going up. Last week I think it was like $4. So,
You're moving up.
Winemakers Selection. This is a red blend. Bold flavors of blackberry, cranberry, and vanilla with a soft and smooth finish. Were you ever much of a drinker there, Dad?
Yeah, I had a few.
Had a couple. All right, we'll probably get to that.
Yeah.
But just a little bit about Winemakers. This is a 2018. Remember, every time I go to drink, pour bottles of wine, I always think of the scene from House Guest. You know what I'm talking about, the wine tasting scene. The reason I mention that is because you're the one that showed me that movie when I was probably too young to see it. But it's a great scene.
Right.
But anyways, our winemakers set out to create some of the best wines from California. With our Winemaker Selection Classic Series, we have carefully sourced our delicious California-made wines to bring a flavorful experience to be enjoyed during everyday occasions. Pair our red blend with your favorite barbecue with a side of seasonal vegetables.
Yeah.
All in good taste. Well, we're going to find out if it's good taste. And it's only good if it's a twist on bottom. All right, so we'll get a little bit of the pour here.
That sounds like intelligence going down there.
We'll see. If only it made you smarter, right?
Right.
Okay, so we'll get a little bit of sipskis here, and then we'll get to it.
And let me have my...
Oh, yeah, have your finest of H2O.
Out of Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah. Not bad.
We hope.
I usually say it tastes like the price. It's actually not bad. That's better. I will say that's better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So, Winemaker, sponsor us. All right. My dad. Oh, my God. This is somebody, it's the first guest that's on here that's known me for my entire existence.
Couple years, yeah.
My entire existence, however many years I've been here, right?
Yeah.
So, first question I usually ask people, Dad, is, who the hell is Tom Kane?
I wish I knew. Good Lord. Where do you want to start?
You can take these questions however you want. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to just learn and grow. And I would say this. Just be as true as you can be with any of these questions. And any questions you don't want to answer, tough shit. No. Just be as truthful, as open as you want to be. Right? This is your experience. So yeah, let it rip. I have a few questions that we'll get to.
I want to hear them.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead, Dad. Who the hell is Tom Kane?
Wow, that's a good question. Let's just put it this way. I'm a guy that tried for many years to figure that out. Tried to find out who I was.
Yeah.
And really, it hasn't been probably in the past 6, 7, 8 years I really found out who I am. That's a really good question. That's why I asked it, I'm sure. But
Do you mind sharing your age?
no, 66.
66 years young, guys. Does this man look 66?
66.
I think not. I am blessed. I think I have a couple good genes. But yeah, you don't. I'm sure people tell you all the time you don't look 66.
No.
Because I'm sure people you've seen 66-year-olds that look like they're
80.
not 66. We'll say that. So.
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Part of that is been my experience with you. Going way back. I remember when you were, I was a police officer, and I think you were still in diapers.
God.
You're gonna hear this stuff. This guy, when I was doing push-ups, he'd come in diapers and do push-ups. He had these little Popeye muscles just stuck out. I says, "Man, that kid is special. Something's different about him." But I say all that because we've both seen each other grow.
Yeah.
We've both seen.
Yeah.
The whole benefit of this thing is to be as honest and as open.
Yeah.
About everything in our lives.
Yep.
Otherwise, we don't learn, we don't grow, we don't experience, and everything we're doing right now has been teaching. We've learned so much about each other. Period. And about life. He's seen everything I've been through too. He's seen my nightmares that I've been in, and he's seen the heaven side of it now too. This is a beautiful thing, and I admire him as much as I know he admires me.
Absolutely.
Which it makes it even better.
Yeah. So you did mention being a cop.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you decided you want to get into law enforcement.
Wow.
And how that impacted your life.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're the first police officer we've had on here.
Yeah.
And I always, thank you for, service. I know people say it's a lot for the military, but honestly, especially for anybody that's any public service.
Right. That's a really good question. Like most of these they're really thought provoking, but you know what? They hit home, and that's right where I'm at.
Yeah.
So that works. There's a time I'd have climbed under a table with a bottle and couldn't have been ever able to answer that.
Yeah.
But why did I become a police officer? Well, let's go back to the beginning of that, which is probably all the way back when I was about 5 or 6. I remember we used to watch this show called Hop Along Cassidy.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay? I had a holster, and I had 2 guns in that bad boy. And I remember coming down in the basement because I didn't want to do any work upstairs, and Dad and Mom were hunting for me. I ran down the basement and I put on the guns. Back then, Hop Along
Were they
Cassidy.
6-shooters?
Oh yeah, baby. I had bullets all the way across. There were so many people back then that it was a big deal back then. Westerns and right and wrong and law and this and that and the other thing. And my God, these guys were our heroes back then.
Yeah.
I guess I was looking for a hero. And I saw this and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp, all of them, Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
We grew up on that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But there was something more in it than that. Okay, and I remember standing there in front of I was talking to the washer and the dryer. and I remember I pulled out these old cap guns and I said, because I remember I just saw it on the show. My guns do my talking for me. I will never forget that. And I thought there was something in it that filled something in me.
Yeah.
That's what the attraction was. Okay, and believe me, it took a whole lifetime to realize what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I finally saw that. Because that completed the whole circle.
Sure.
Okay, but anyhow, that's how it started.
Okay.
And and of course we were always into those rough and tumble things that you and your brother were into, and all the shows and all that stuff. But it filled a part of me that needed filled at the time, and I carried that for years. And when I was finally able to let go of it, that's when I actually become a better person.
Right. Yeah.
All the way around. I didn't realize it at the time.
Sure.
Because it filled it.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, all that being said, I carried that throughout the years, and I kind of always liked the appeal. And then, back in the late 70s, early 80s, a show come out called Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues, yeah. I remember. I've seen it.
I fell in love with the music theme and the guys and everything they did, and machismo and this and that and the whole thing. It was, I loved it. I started doing some building security at the first place I worked, Arbor Gas,
Yeah.
Man, I like this. I'm in charge. I like
Right.
to lock these windows and doors. Get rid of the bad guy and save the, all that. And it went from there. And then I got into the police academy. I had 84.
Okay.
And started in sheriff's academy, and I put on a uniform. I had that
Yeah.
deputy sheriff thing on there.
Insignia.
Put that badge on there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You felt like somebody, huh?
I felt like something.
Yeah.
My whole entire thing was right there. This is what I was made for.
Right.
And I got into all that stuff, as you well know. I mean, Steven Seagal come out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it took off.
I remember watching those movies.
Yeah.
Again, probably before I should have been, but
Right.
God, they were so fun. Like, and I look back and I'm like, I got them all. I got most of them right there. So much fun though. But
Above
yeah,
the Law,
Above the Law, Hard to Kill,
Jabroni.
Out for Justice, Marked for Death, Under Siege, all that stuff.
Yeah. And so all that stuff kicked in together, and it just
Yeah.
raveled into me. But law enforcement, being a police officer, all of those things, like I said earlier, they filled a hole in me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what that hole was.
Right.
And I kept pursuing it, and it kept filling it, and I kept going after it just
Yeah.
like I do, a drug.
Yeah.
It was power, it was ego, it was
Yeah.
the uniform,
Oh,
the badge, the prestige, knowing people, and then I could swing it. I could wing it, swing it, and do it.
Yeah.
I was good at it,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize what was going on at the time in the process of all that,
Right.
And,
So, I want to go back to your. So you mentioned your childhood, and there's something I want to talk about. We really haven't talked much about it, but I'm sure you losing your mother had an extraordinary impact on you because
yes.
you were what? Were you 2 years old?
No, I was a year and a half.
Okay, year and a half and obviously I never met my biological grandmother.
Well, you didn't.
So, I guess if you could just
Sure.
kind of talk about what happened and how that affected
you. That's funny you mention that because you never know how much these things play in the old tape and make you.
Yeah.
Until you face them and deal with them
Yeah.
and move forward.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it.
But it has an everlasting impact on my life.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't know what it is you're missing, and you carry that angst in you the whole time, Causes a lot of issues everywhere until you finally realize what's going on. But about 1956, Father and I and for the 4 kids and Mom and Dad were driving home from Bay City, Michigan, up in the falls on Broad and 6th. There's a YMCA there.
This is in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, right?
Falls, Ohio. Cuyahoga.
Cuyahoga.
I never.
Cuyahoga.
I'm always hearing that. But it's okay. Good stuff. Anyhow, apparently my father fell asleep at the wheel. There wasn't a light there. My mom got hit broadside. She apparently saw it coming, threw me in the back seat because there was no those chairs you got now.
Yeah.
They had a little strap. She saw it, threw me in the back seat. She got threw him out of the car and instantly crushed. Wow. And I was a baby at the time, and what did I know?
Yeah.
It affected all of us. Affected our lives forever.
Yeah.
Point blank. My father was semi-depressed ever since.
Yeah.
It really screwed with him.
Understandably so.
And then he was technically to blame.
Right.
Because he fell asleep. He wasn't drinking. My father wasn't much of a drinker, but he fell asleep at the wheel. He went to a stop sign. Boom. That was it. He saw this whole thing. So what I went through, compared to what he went through.
Yeah.
But anyhow, as we all know, when you lose someone that's flesh and blood to you, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And some things never change.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's what happened there, and it did. A part of me went.
Absolutely.
And that hole was always there. I filled it with God knows everything.
Yeah.
I tried to fill it with.
Yeah.
But until I finally filled it with what I was supposed to fill it with, the hole never closed. But I understand that when it happens to other people, it's happened, you know, with someone else really close in my life.
Yeah.
And her grandson's experience is the same thing. Do the odds on that, you know?
Right. Well, you know, you said it, that, you know, you never get past it, something like that, especially it's such a young age. I'm getting emails here. Especially at such a young age, to have something like that, you know, something as tragic like that happen. I mean, of course it's going to affect you. And, you know, do you have any memories of her?
Of her?
Yeah.
No, I have this faint, like, picture of what she used to,
Right.
what I figured she looked like over on Purdue Avenue on the steps. That's it.
Right.
And I don't, beyond that I don't, because I was just too young, which is a blessing in of itself, because I don't, you know, but I know there was always this thing in me that was always looking for her, you know, and there was always that thing where you wanted, to this day, you want picked up, you want acknowledged, you want, hey, you know, and it drives some people nuts, but it's just, I don't really know how to deal with that other than giving that away to people, to help people,
right?
You know, so it's and that's a shame. You never did.
I never got to meet her.
Biological grandma. You met a biological grandfather,
right? But not her.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the amount of pain that you had to go through your whole life. You know, wondering what if, wondering, you know, why was she taken from me? You know, I didn't get to grow up and experience and feel that love. So it's, you know, you have to. I remember reading a book from a psychologist who was talking about. It's a really good book called The Dance of Intimacy, and she just talked about, you know, how, you know, even if you have problems with your family, that you always, it's so critical to have that connection, because it's your first family, right? You didn't get to choose them, right? Mm-hmm. They were given to you, right? And you got to honor that, even if it was only, you know, she was only in your life for less than 2 years. You know, it's, you know, she's still part of you, right, no matter what. But yeah, you know, you have to deal. How do you deal with something so catastrophic, so, you know, so traumatic at such a young age, you know, and like you said, it had an impact on your whole life, having, you know, I'm sure it left a void, right? Yeah. And, you know, anytime you have a void in your life, you try to fill it, right?
Sure do.
So, we'll cut right to the shit. You know, let's talk about addiction. And, you know, you don't know anything about it. Well, let's get to it. Because obviously addiction, you know, a lot of times is used to fill a void in your life, right, to control the uncontrollable, right? But anyways, let's talk about it. Let's talk about kind of your journey with it. Do you want me to give you certain questions, or do you just want to talk about it?
I can talk about that till midnight and I'll be done.
Well, let's do this. What was your choice? Your what was your drug of choice, if you will?
My drug of choice was more.
Yeah.
Point blank. I still wrestle with more.
Yeah.
I got trouble with chicken wings. You know, and
I do love chicken wings.
Don't forget chocolate. But well, the best way to put it is, I did not realize back then what I was trying to do. Because when I first started getting high and started using, started experimenting in my teen years, the first time I got high, I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell in love with it. It shut all the noise down in between the ears. It stopped the angst inside of me, and I went after it for 43 years. I chased it and didn't know it was chasing me. You know, that was one of the tough parts. I mean, you know, you saw, well, you pretty much saw most of it. I mean, other than back when you weren't there and I was,
Yeah.
qualifying, but you 3 kids did. You saw the
Yeah.
brunt of it, and it started in my teen years. I love the effect. I like the effect, and I would do anything to get the effect.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Right.
Addiction to me is simply this. I mean, there's a lot of aspects and angles, and man, we can talk forever on this stuff, but for me, it's basically this. I pursued the effect no matter what the consequence. Point blank. My brain will still tell me that I can drink, I can drug. It still tell me I can do all this crazy stuff, and it'll rationalize the use of it. We talk about it in the program that you have a thinking problem.
Yeah.
I had to redo my thinking.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know that relates to a spiritual problem.
Exactly.
Which is where the juju's at.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I'll
juju,
talk about juju.
The juju and what's the other thing?
Pam Pam. You cannot have Pam Pam without juju.
Okay.
You can have juju and not have
But
Pam
not Pam Pam, but okay.
Pam Pam's the gift.
Pam Pam and juju.
You use
Gotcha.
of the juju.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
That what makes, we talk about the circle of life.
Yeah.
That's the circle of life.
Okay.
For me.
Sure.
Anyhow, we'll get into that. But the addiction part, okay, I'm addicted to more, no doubt. My
Right.
brain loves, no matter what the pleasure is in it, he wants more, no matter
More and more.
what the consequences are.
Right.
Didn't realize it was more than just physical, but it was spiritual. I was trying to fill a hole inside of me I didn't even know I had. I remember, we were talking about childhood, I remember when I was like 4 years old. I remember going through the backyards on Purdue Avenue, going to the homes that had a mom. I would always go to those homes. I'd look for them because I had a lump in my throat. Fear.
Yeah.
I had it all my life. Didn't know what it was. I just had it. How do you deal with it? Hello. That's when I fell in love with alcohol.
Sure.
Shut it down. It calmed it down. It gave me what I thought, the release, the comfort of what they call the irritable, discontent feeling. Now I've learned how to deal with that. I've learned how to process. I've learned how to process my own thinking. That's kind of scary, but I did.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but that's what happened. That was part of the problem. I had the physical because I loved it, fell in love with it. I chased it. It gave me that, where you may drink a glass of wine and not get out of what I did. And I drink a glass of wine, you better have a house full of it, and that isn't going to be enough.
Yeah.
Because I got to cover up what happens when I drank that amount tomorrow morning and go out and do it the next day and call it normal. That's normal for me. It's abnormal for you. That's just the difference. And, that doesn't bother me anymore because the hole's filled.
Exactly. It's interesting. It's like, as humans, we love the moments of high, right?
Mm-hmm.
We love getting back to that feeling. And really, you do it one of two ways. Really, it's either you thicken the experience, you keep it going and going, right? So we just had dinner. What's for dessert?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We should go see a movie.
Right.
We should have popcorn with it.
Sure.
We should, drink some wine while we watch our movie. While we drink
Right.
So it's about thickening those experiences, but it's also about reducing, like, the time between the rushes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you keep going, like, right? So
I get it.
I can't just have one drink. I need to have another.
Sure.
Because I want that. I can't be, separate. I need to have that.
I've got to keep it
going.
Right.
I got to. So, But what's interesting is, like, as you get on the other side of this journey, you mentioned the spiritual thing. Like, I feel like the more spiritual work you do, the more that shit the more the addictive qualities start to just fall off more, because you are more whole as a being.
Right.
You don't need external things to fill that hole.
Right.
Not to say you don't have your ups and downs.
Right.
We all do, but the more that you're in tune and you have that sense of wholeness, that spiritual wholeness, the less you feel like you need it in other things.
That's true.
Right? Because it's really, it's not about getting high. It's about getting free, right? Isn't it really what it's ultimately about? And I know, so for you, I know you said 40...
43.
43 years, you would say.
Counting.
So you would say you were an addict for 43 years. I mean,
Let's put it this
Well,
way. I'll
okay.
forever be an
Forever, correct, yeah. But you're not using...
But I don't have to be stoned, drunk, high, whatever.
And it's been how long since you've...
Since you took me to detox?
Okay, we can...
Let's get to it.
So, let's reset this, because this is obviously very important. You had to take an early retirement as a police officer.
All right.
So you broke your wrist. You had a titanium steel plate.
Right.
Titanium steel plate in your wrist.
Right.
Went back to work.
Right.
And you got electrocuted on the job. And your
jail.
your hand. Well, let's tell. You want to tell that story? Because when I've told that story, people are like, at the end of it, their jaws are on the floor, and I'm cleaning up,
right.
the drool that's coming out of the mouth, because they are so flabbergasted. They are so amazed at what happened. So if you want to talk about that, and then we'll circle it back into...
Okay, we'll roll back to... let's see. I fell and broke my wrist in 97, December.
Of 97?
Excuse me, I fell in January 97. I got electrocuted in December 97. So in January I broke my wrist.
Yeah.
Shattered it.
I was 9.
Yeah, I shattered it. We were living in Northampton.
Mm-hmm.
And I shattered, I fell on it, and it just was a big crumpled mess. And I had to do tons of surgeries on it. Put a plate in it. I had the plate, kept a plate in it. And I went on that family leave. Went back to work in April of 97. And while working at Glenwood Jail, doing a dorm check, head count inspection, one of the light bays was off. And I was looking dead at the inmates, and because how many times you look at a light switch to see if it's covered?
Never.
Especially in the dark.
You reach
Stuck
back
my
to
hand right in it with the plate in the wrist, and I had on a bulletproof vest, which has a metal plate, trauma plate here. Zzz, lit up. And I want to tell you, the electric, it's hot, it's fast, and it doesn't play, and it goes beep.
Yeah.
You'll never forget it as long as you live.
Oh, I'm sure
right
it went to your soul. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And didn't one of your fellow officers say that you flew back like?
Yeah.
How many feet?
We don't know. It knocked me back. It blew my arm back, and tore my rotator cuff in the shoulder, all the crap in the back. Man. I always have that. However, believe it or not, all that was a blessing in disguise. They got electrocuted with the same hand that had the steel plate in it. I had 7 screws in it. Excuse me, 8 screws in it. I had a titanium plate in it when I got electrocuted. They held together with 5 pins. Looked like railroad pins. They had to put a cadaver, a dead bone is in here to fill the hole. So trash when I broke it.
Yeah.
And God, anyhow, then I got electrocuted in the same arm. Hello. So, I was in rehab, physical rehab, occupational rehab for years.
I remember you very vividly coming home and doing exercises and all that, basically learning how to move your arm again, and get the mobility back in your hand. And then you developed, what they call reflex sympathetic dystrophy, also known as chronic.
You got it, baby.
Chronic
regional pain syndrome.
Type 2.
The worst.
So basically, if you had to explain it in layman's terms, how would you explain what reflex sympathetic dystrophy is?
It's the best thing. The best way to explain it is burning nerve pain head to toe. They will not go away. Yeah. And so hence I found my friend opiates.
There we go. Leading back into what we're talking about.
There was a time I slowed down on my drinking. I was trying to control my drinking, and that's when I got that's when I fell. Yeah. And they put me on Demerol. Who needs alcohol?
When you got done.
Hello.
Right. Yeah.
A little pill about that big. Yeah. 8 hours.
And at the height, how many pills were you taking a day?
Oh, at the height?
Yeah.
I was on 13 different medications.
And you had how many surgeries?
16.
Oh my God! For somebody that's never had a surgery, I can't even imagine. 16 plus. So you said 13 pills?
It was 13 medications. I was on at one time.
Okay, yeah, medications.
Yeah.
And all from everything under the sun. And you did. I mean, you had OxyContin.
I had OxyContin, morphine, Demerol, phenobarbital,
and
fentanyl,
and you were
hydrocodone. Oh, that was my buddy. Oh God, I can go on and on and tell you.
Yeah. And when you were on those, like it just, because to be honest with you, I mean, you know, kind of my lifestyle. It's very rare that I even take like an aspirin.
Right.
So, I've never had a painkiller. You know, when you when you have a painkiller, is it literally like give you kind of a euphoric feeling?
Yeah, especially initially. Okay, there's something that happens to your body physically, biologically, and definitely spiritually when you start eating opiates like candy. At a certain point, who knows when, in the age of all that chronic, real legitimate pain, I fell in love with the opiates, forgot about the pain, and chased the opiates. You know, I mean, but I was in that constant state of pain when you didn't take the opiates. You know, a whole lot of stuff I found out, but it was like a stimulant, depressant at the same time.
Yeah.
And my brain addicted to more, wanted more. Let's keep this feeling going no matter what, and that's what I did.
Like we talked about,
Right.
keeping that high.
Yeah.
So how many years were you on opiates?
16.
16 years.
25 years of daily alcohol, 16 opiates.
And would you drink and do opiates at the same time?
I did somewhat.
Yeah.
But
because that's got to be toxic.
Well, yeah, but you're not thinking, and you're not thinking that.
Yeah. right. You're thinking, like we talked about,
right.
thickening the experience. Well, if this is, fuck.
6, you know, like they say, take one pill every 6 hours. Yeah. Well, for the addict, it's 6 pills every 1 hour.
Yeah. So,
do you remember my logs?
God, they were like, I will say that, like,
every pill I took.
Everything you took ever, which is interesting to me because it's like, if you're such an addict, yet you're addicted to writing it down and everything you.
I was convinced I wasn't.
You're convinced, right?
I was convincing myself I wasn't.
Yeah.
Look, world.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying these pills, but here's what. Oh yeah, shoulder sprain
and
burning pain.
And of course, obviously, we know more now. But like, how dare, these big institutions, pharma. Big pharma especially, they know how addictive these substances are, and yet, obviously they're given into these hospitals that are getting kickbacks for prescribing them. So it's obviously, if you, just like anything, if you want to see the corruption, just trace back where the money is, right? Huh. And
right. Follow the money.
Obviously, these big pharma is getting sued, Purdue Pharmaceutical and all these companies getting sued because they willingly knew that these substances were very addictive, that they hand them out like candy. There's no reason that, I'm not an expert, but I feel like there's no reason you should have been put on so many.
Whoa. And right? Try and get off.
And that's the other thing. Did they even attempt to help you wean off of them? Or was it, no, we need to keep feeding them more for...
Oh yeah, 13 trips to the emergency room in 2013 because I couldn't quit.
Yeah.
I wanted to stop.
Right.
And I couldn't.
Right.
No matter the more I took, because I was afraid of getting sick, the sicker I got. But
the
solution I got was more morphine and get out the door. I'm not blaming anybody for me being an addict, but their procedure certainly didn't help.
Exactly. And I don't mean to.
No, I'm not.
We know.
Right.
Right, to push aside responsibility. You obviously take as much. You obviously are so. It's amazing how much accountability you have compared to, because you've had to look at yourself in the face and say, "Hey, yeah, what the fuck." So I'm definitely not saying that. But however, they definitely had their hand in the pot, stirring it.
Sure.
But the good news is, now that we've kind of talked about the story of addiction is.
Let's talk more. No.
Go ahead. But it's the thing is you have to open your closet and clean it, and you have to when that demon pops up and looks at you, you can't shy away from him. You need to look at him, talk to him, make friends with him, do whatever you have to do, understand it. Right. If you sweep anything under the rug, it's going to cost you.
Sure.
If you are afraid to address anything, if you back down from anything in your life like that and don't address it, it will cost you, and it's going to cost you dearly, as you know. Right. And then eventually, like you say, and I say this saying, God, I feel like I'm sounded more and more like you every day. My gray
Poor
hair starts
child.
trickling in. But no, I say this sometimes, and people like this thing, so I keep saying it. But the truth always, you say the truth always comes out in the wash, right? So it will always come out, no matter what. So anyways, what was that impetus to be like, holy shit, I gotta change this?
Oh yeah.
What was it?
This is the juju.
Okay, I want juju.
This releases the juju.
Okay.
God, let's just cut right to it. Okay, well, first off, I got off some of the medicines on my own. You know, and like I said, on 2013, man, my whole world was just doing this, crashing, boom. Yeah, I mean, just totally going literally down the toilet. And I couldn't stop it, you know. And in 2013, with each growing month, the fear grew, the paranoia grew, the insomnia grew, the total bankruptcy, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just went out of my life. Everything went out of my life. And I was screaming inside. And nothing I could do could give me peace.
Yeah.
Nothing. No matter how much pills I ate, no matter what I did, I couldn't fill the hole. I had no juju. Okay? And let's just put it this way. It killed my juju.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a difference.
Sure.
Okay. So eventually, I'll tell you how you sum it up. Do you remember the night you took me to detox?
I do.
Or the next morning you took me.
Yeah.
You asked me in that world I call my world, the living hell that I was in. You asked me a question, Dad, where's your faith?
Right.
Oh, I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
It hit me right here between the eyes, you know.
And that was December of 2013.
December 2nd.
December 2nd, 2013.
And he took me in the next morning for what I would call about an hour's worth of sleep, maybe, after a bucket of opiates and trazodone and Ambien and every other thing.
Yeah.
And all it did was frighten me. And so I knew then something in that little pea brain of mine in that day went, you keep doing this, you're leaving this planet.
Yeah.
And it's not time. Call it spiritual inspiration, call it God, call it whatever you want to call it. It spoke to me through all that cloud and fog and fear and the hole I was living in. It spoke. It reached out.
Yeah.
It's time. You gotta face you. Oh, baby. But it released me.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the peace, freedom, freedom of self.
And I know when I took you, I was like, oh my God, because I was like, who is this? Because you were just like, you were somebody I didn't even recognize.
I didn't even recognize.
Yeah, right.
Well,
and that's got to be. I mean, that's got to be something. Looking in the mirror and saying, "Who?" And we talked about this on another podcast. Who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And that's something I kind of ask myself every day, but not kind of on that level.
That's exactly what happened to me in detox.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you have to get honest with the man in the mirror. You know.
Okay. Well, if you're not honest with yourself, who will be? Who are you going to be honest with?
That's. You know, it's so, that's one of the most, it brought my whole life.
Yeah.
It brought everything to the forefront of me.
Yeah.
I'm all the time blaming you. I don't mean you. I'm all the time blaming
somebody
everybody else.
But yourself.
But myself.
Yeah.
You know, and when it happened up there and I had to look in that mirror, I think it was like, I don't know, 2-3 days I was up there for 13 days and I looked in the mirror and, who are you?
Yeah.
What happened to Tom? You know, how do you miss yourself? You know, how do you use so much drugs, booze, and whatever till you numb out your own self? And that's what I did. And that's when it all started and all crashed and that little word called honesty came up.
Yeah.
You know, but it was, I didn't realize it then, but it was one of the best blessings in my life.
Well, you know, two things. One is truth, you know, like we said, that's, as I'm getting older, that's a word that just like God, it means so much. But and how do you even begin to describe it? But you know it, and that's all that you really should be. That's all you need to have fidelity to is, and your loyalty is to the truth, right?
Right.
And finding that I try to find that in everything, whether it's life, whether watching a movie, whatever it is, when you extract the truth from it, that's the essence of life, isn't it? So when you seek the truth in something, ultimately yourself, like that's really what it's all about. You can't hide from it. You can't run from it, because if you do, like I said, it's going to hurt. It's going to cost you. What were we going to say?
The truth will set you free. Just like the Bible says. It's so true.
The other thing I would say is suffering. You mentioned it. Like, obviously, and that's intense suffering, what you've gone through. We trace everything from, being born to, losing your mother at such a young age, filling the void, getting electrocuted, losing your job, which in some way I mentioned part of your identity as a police officer.
Oh yeah.
It was tied up into that.
Oh yes.
Becoming addicted, going through divorces, which we haven't even talked about. That I was 5 years old when you got divorced from from mom. Yeah. But anyways, you see all of that as suffering, right? What I find fascinating about suffering is it's equally the shits. It's equally the worst, yet it's equally perfection.
Yeah.
If you can have that simultaneous awareness of, looking up at the beautiful snowy peaks and rejoicing in it, and yet looking down and seeing the blood on the snow, and understanding they're both perfection, right? They're both grist for the mill. That's a book by Ram Dass that he talks about. It's all shit to just help get you awake and get you free, the good and the bad.
Right.
So anything that happens in your life, you don't want to go through that shit again. You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy, but you know how beneficial it was, how much it was needed to get you to where you are now. And that's the key. Right. To have it. If you can have that kind of consciousness, it just unlocks everything. Yeah, when you're in the moment, it sucks, it stinks. Yeah. But to be able to have like a witness that looks back, they talk about this a lot in Eastern philosophy, is a witness that's, where figure becomes ground, and you're just standing over a bridge watching all the water go by. Pleasure, pain. Not clinging to either, letting it go, doing its thing.
Right. That's,
I think, where kind of the freedom of consciousness lies.
You're absolutely correct. Yeah. Because that's what happened.
Yeah.
It was the greatest blessing in the world. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was the healing process that started. Healing me from me. Yeah. I'll tell you what happened up there when I looked in the mirror, didn't recognize. The nurse asked me to shave. Because I was looking bad. I looked like Grandpa Moses. Bad, okay? I didn't know. So I went in, that's when I looked in the mirror, and you almost don't care whether you live or die, but you want to live more than you want to die. Right. You want to stop the pain, man. There is no pain to me in this world. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's other pain. Yeah. But the pain that I experienced in withdrawal from opiates, they should sue them on that alone. Okay? Because that was undescribable hell. Oh, yeah. Physical, mental, spiritual torture. They're ripped right into your soul, and you just want it to stop. Yeah. And that's why so many people use them to stop it. And, they stop life. But when I looked in the mirror and saw that, and then I started searching. I started searching me, started searching for answers, and I went into the room that's right behind it, and I saw this on the wall. I said, with God, all things are possible. And that's when I knew I was right where I was supposed to be. That's when I started coming home to me, and I started accepting everything in my reality. Wow. Which I do to this day. So since then, that transformation started. Wow. I didn't know it at the time like I know it today. Yeah. But I thank God that it did happen that way. And he's looking at me like I've always been here. Welcome back, son. And it was like the prodigal son
Yeah.
coming. So I'm glad I went through all that hell to find a little bit of
Full
heaven
circle.
I have now. You know, because, you know, in the process of all that, I realized how much in light, I can look at the whole picture now. I couldn't see the picture before because I was always in the way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I surrendered myself, faced myself, surrendered myself, and continue to stay surrendered and honest with myself, that I'm able to do that with you, with everybody in my life.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't want to say God of my understanding, because the only God I have is Jesus Christ. He's my Lord and Savior. I had to come back home, and that's what happened to me. And because that happened to me, everything else has happened as a result of that transition. And that's when I knew he never left, and that's when I knew he restored that juju in me. And I also,
juju.
and see, just like we're doing right now,
Yeah.
that's the Pam Pam. You're using your gift just like you do.
Yeah.
You're using your gift that you're given, you know, in this and this, in your arts and the movies. My God, man.
Yeah.
Really? This is the kid that was in diapers doing push-ups. Look at you now. You see?
Yeah.
And, you know, us reconnecting at work.
Well, yeah.
My God, that's a message to everybody.
Right. Well, us reconnecting in general.
Period. Absolutely.
But yeah, like you said, reconnecting. You know, shit, man. I know, like, a good part of my teenage, early 20 years, there's a lot of resentment towards you because, you know, understandably so, because it's. I knew you always loved and cared for me and would do anything for you,
Right.
for me. That I knew, but because you were in such a mental state,
Just say it.
because you were a fucking drunk. No,
Right.
you know, obviously we butted heads, and there was absence there that, you know,
Trust
I know personally in my own spiritual journey, I was then trying to find, I was trying to find acceptance and love in other things, and one of the big reasons I fell in love so much with martial arts, because it was an outlet of physical aggression,
Yes.
where I could, you know, let out everything that I was feeling that was manifesting in my life, whether it was, you know, having some disdain towards you, I could let that out, and I found good role models, especially Bruce Lee, you know, looking at him almost as like a sub-father figure.
Sure.
When you were absent.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I was there, but I was gone.
You were there, but you weren't, right?
Not, what do they call it? Emotionally available.
Yeah.
Right.
But, and not to dwell on that, but it's so important to understand that in telling our story.
Yes.
That, you know, because of that, I was, you know, seeking things in other relationships and things in my life that I felt like there was a void that I needed. But the beautiful thing is, coming full circle with all of that is, you know, that was 7 going on 8 years ago. And so the last 7, almost 8 years have been absolutely beautiful. It's been a blessing and a gift for me to, you know, I don't want to get too emotional here, but
Do it.
But no. It's been a blessing. I was going to save it for the end. We're not done yet. There's a couple more questions I want to ask. But it's been a blessing and a gift for me to be able to say, hey, I got my dad back.
Oh, that breaks my heart. God, I love you, son.
I love you too, yeah.
God.
But
you know what? You know what? Now you're talking that's my whole point.
Yeah.
You just said my whole point.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, those things that I wasn't available for, that the ass that I was.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand me. You wouldn't stand me up here.
Well, no, I couldn't. That's why we butted heads. That's why we butted heads so much.
And I believe it, but let's talk about what you've done for me. My God, man, you spun my head around.
Yeah.
You started with, where's your faith?
Yeah.
That same faith I used to preach to you.
Right.
But let's take it a step further. You got me out of me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no Bruce Lee or anything, but my God, I've come leaps and bounds from where I was.
It's awesome. You do martial arts. You do Tai Chi.
Right,
I
every day.
kind of helped get you into that.
Yeah,
and
You started that up.
And a big thing, meditating every day.
Meditating.
That was on my list. Another question.
You got me into the spirit program.
Yeah,
you know, you got.
Well, my question specifically is because this obviously is tied into all of it. How has meditation and Tai Chi and things like that? How has that helped you in your recovery process?
It's encompassed it's made me embrace my existence, my reality. It's supported everything I do spiritually. It's helped bring everything full circle. It's enabled me to believe more in me. It's enabled me to accept myself. It's enabled me to become a better me, a better person. Physically, I can't begin to tell you the benefits in that.
Oh, right.
Oh my gosh, man. You know, and it's become a lifestyle. It's not a drudgery. I work out irregardless of
you do.
what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a sick bed, I haven't slept, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm working out.
Getting it.
I worked out before I got here.
You're getting
I
it
just kind of do
You have to. You have to.
You
Absolutely.
know,
I'm with you.
And I replaced that one of those things that I was missing with the weights, the
with positivity.
Positivity.
Yeah.
And tread climber, and I can't begin to tell you about Tai Chi. Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
You remember when I got started in it?
Yeah.
I mean, I just got off 9 days of having a surgery,
Yeah.
a gallbladder removal, but you hooked me up with Vince, with Master G. What's he talking about? You know, that was my
Hocus pocus.
Jamocha stuff, you know. I was like 90 days sober,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I got in and the whole world opened up.
Yeah.
And I got into that meditation.
Yeah.
God, I couldn't quit.
You know, I've spoke about this. Is like, you know, that those in the East have, I mean, their cultures are way older than us in the West, especially in the United States and America. I mean, think about it. We've been around the country for not even 300 years officially. So the point is with that is, you know, they have certain spiritual practices that have been going for thousands of years that trace their roots to, you know, that have such deep spiritual merits, and they've developed, while Western cultures were getting maps of the world, going and exploring, those in the East were getting maps inside and exploring that terrain, that final frontier.
Yes.
So at the very least, so people that dismiss it as that's just mumbo jumbo, it's like at the very least be open to it,
for
what it could possibly give it. If you feel like those methods don't do anything for you, cool. At least you explored it and tried it.
Right.
I just know, for me, that how many things it opens for you.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you have to, you know, hold your prayer beads and chant and say Buddha's name every 5 minutes.
Right.
The point is, like, what can you take to ultimately create your own experience, to ultimately give you spiritual fulfillment in that regard.
You learn how to embrace you.
Yeah.
I couldn't do
Absolutely.
I couldn't do that
Yeah.
when I was looking for my mom when I was 4 years old. You know?
Yeah. You know, ultimately, I think Jack Kornfield said that spiritual life ultimately is about self-acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to accept who you are, the good and the bad, right? But it's all, it's all your, you know, you have to simultaneously honor your humanity and your divinity.
Sure.
Right? You have to have both of those at the same time. Some people go too far in one extreme.
Right.
But ultimately, you have to honor who you are and every experience you've had in your life, how it has led you to the being you are now, you know, at this level.
Do you know? I've heard this. You know, I can't say enough about martial arts. I can't do it enough.
Yeah.
I can't say enough. I can't grow in it enough.
Yeah.
You know. And I can't say how grateful enough I am. You know.
Absolutely.
For you, in this too. I mean, you got me
Yeah.
there. You know, I mean, you opened up a gift I didn't know at the time when I was trying to do all, you know, but now I know it. I learned how to, anyhow, that helped me encompass everything, you know, and to watch you grow, for us to reconnect.
Yeah.
However we reconnected.
Yeah.
That's that healing process, you know.
Yeah.
But it taught me, I guess the bottom line was all the way around is my life came first full circle. And I'm able to embrace it now and really enjoy it for once, you know, and it's helped my relationships. It helped my relationship with Susan, you know. I was never in a good
Your girlfriend, Susan, for
My
those who
girlfriend.
don't know.
I'm sorry, my girlfriend. And
It's cool. Just give people some context.
yes, yeah, she. I can't begin to tell
Yeah,
you
she's great.
how grateful I am for Susan. But life coming full circle, because I don't want to get off that. It's enabled me, and martial arts has been a huge part of that. You know, the Tai Chi, and it's all opened me up to being open.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I got you. No, you have to be willing to not physically. I'm gonna say expose yourself, and then you get the cops called on you.
Right.
But no, you have to, in a sense, expose yourself to the world and you have to be vulnerable, or else you build up those barriers in your walls, right?
Right.
And that's where the running from the fear,
Yeah.
comes in. You have to be able to face it and be able to, accept yourself.
Yeah.
And let it out to the world, and that's a hard thing to do because we don't want to look stupid. We don't want to look foolish.
We don't want to look vulnerable.
We don't want to look vulnerable, especially from a male perspective.
Oh.
And I've mentioned this before in other episodes that I think that's one of the biggest issues culturally that we have is men are afraid of being vulnerable,
Right.
because there's this notion, this narrative, if you will, that we have to be strong. We have
Right.
to be this and this no matter
Right.
what. But we're humans. We cry. We feel.
That's right.
And the more that you hold back and repress those feelings, the more that they will manifest in other areas of your life.
I know.
A couple questions, because we're already at an hour, man.
I know.
We're rolling. But go ahead. Yeah, and whatever thoughts you have.
They keep spinning.
Go
and
ahead.
when
Let
it's
it out.
time, they're gone.
Let it out.
But yeah, you're talking about what I used to call weakness, which I found out is kindness.
Mm-hmm.
You have, and for me, I found that you got to be, in order to be kind, it's a strength. It's not a
Absolutely.
weakness.
Absolutely.
That's where this whole macho stuff
Yes.
is so screwed up.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. The fact that you're kind makes you weak is something that I never understood, and to me it's flipped. If you can show kindness, empathy, and compassion towards somebody else, that is a sign of tremendous strength, especially tremendous emotional strength.
Right.
If you're willing to if you can do those things, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that. So to me, what weakness is for somebody who doesn't stand up for what they believe in.
Right.
That's weakness.
Right.
So yeah, being able to show emotions and being vulnerable
Yeah.
is something that, all men need to have a better grasp of, right? Obviously, there is still that gender, role of like men still being tough and a pillar and being strong. And I'm not saying don't do that. I still think that as men we should still do that, absolutely.
Right.
But we should. But how? We're multitudinous beings. We should be able to feel everything.
Right.
We should be able to feel joy, pleasure, pain, sadness, weakness, and be able to express that without judgment. Without, oh, look at this guy crying.
Yeah.
This guy's crying on his podcast. This guy's crying watching a movie.
Exactly.
Like, weak.
Right.
That just shows that you're in touch with
That
that part of
shows that
yourself.
you're strong.
Shows that you're strong. And you meditate back to meditation. You meditated pretty much every day for the last 7+ years, right?
Right.
20 minutes at least a day,
20,
right?
21.
21 minutes, right? And I've been meditating for the last 7, because we started pretty much meditating. I dabbled with it before that, but I really got into it, around the same time as you.
Sure.
And every single day, even if I don't do anything, I at least meditated that day, right?
I remember Master G talking about that.
Yeah.
About meditation. He said, I can do all these things. And he says, you know why?
Yeah.
Because I meditate.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. And I said, that really struck me.
Yep.
So ever since then, I meditate. And it just, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
It just, you get this thing, and you're right there, and you realize, what was I worried about?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you realize, it's my reality. I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, what happens is we put this movie on, we hit play,
Yeah.
and it just goes and goes and goes and goes, and that's what we talk about Tony Blauer. He says fear is false expectations appearing real or false evidence
You
appearing.
know when he
and
says about fear.
Yeah, fuck fear.
Fuck
and you
fear.
hit play, and that tape just keeps playing and playing, and that's the tape in your mind too. You're never going to stop your mind from having thoughts. Forget about it.
Right.
But can you filter those thoughts better? Can you slow down the stream? When you jump on that train of thoughts, can you let it get off at an earlier exit than taking you
Right.
way further down.
Right.
That's where meditation comes in. I could spend, quite a few podcasts just talking about the benefits of meditation. Guys, if you don't meditate, look at, meditation comes in many different forms, varieties, flavors, all that stuff. Just try to find something that works for you. It helps you center yourself. It helps you become better at thinking, and it helps you slow down that narrative, that tape in your mind. Helps pull the weeds in your mind, because that happens. It's like a garden. Those weeds come in, you got to pull them.
Yeah.
That's your mind. You have to pull those weeds out and tend to it. You brush your teeth. You go to the gym. You eat. You do all this stuff. What do you do for your mental and spiritual health? Check that out. You mentioned kindness and helping people, right? Something that you do and that you've given back. Now you, lead discussions at AA meetings and whatnot.
Right.
If you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Yes. Well, let's. When I crawled out of detox, and I barely could put a sentence together.
Yeah.
I was down to fumes.
Right.
And that went off while I was reaching out for help, and what can I do? And it happened down St. Thomas, which is like the mecca for AA.
Yeah.
And at the time it gave me what I needed. And it was just because I had to have that connection.
Yeah.
With somebody.
Yeah.
Someone who understood the insanity of addiction and all the things that go with our ism. I didn't realize then what I realize now. And at the time, that filled me. And they talk about the principles and the steps, that are involved in that. And those steps they're a purge.
Yeah.
Out of yourself. You work them, you live them, you become them, they become you, and all that. And all that happened to me. And it was a all life-changing experience for me. I came out of that, and it was just something that, probably the biggest thing in it to this day, I loved, was returning to detox. There was something there I could give them.
Yeah.
That I didn't have when I was there. And it was juju.
The juju.
Juju. I would
Yeah.
tell them about the juju.
And you're like, what the hell is this guy?
How to be
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I get free without using? Because our addict brains will say, you got to use to get free. You got to shut this down or you're not going to be free. So pick up. That's not the case. That's bad thinking that you have to re-educate, retrain yourself to do, and that's what happened to me in the process. And then I got into a thing called a step prayer list, which really started to change me spiritually, which brought me to where I am today. I'm grateful for AA. I'm grateful for all the principles that I learned in AA.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for what it really revealed to me, and that was that spiritual awakening.
Right.
Which is where I got the juju.
You got your
and I got
juju.
to pay him now. And I'm able to give it away.
Yeah.
See, which is using your gift. But,
Yeah.
the greatest thing was that going back and helping another addict.
Yeah.
Let me show you what happened to me. And this is what you can have by getting free.
Then honestly, there is not a better feeling than when you help somebody.
Absolutely. 100%. If I help someone, I'm helping myself.
That was my next point, is what people understand is like, yeah, I'm helping you, but I'm kind of being selfish about this because I know how much I'm being blessed via this.
Right.
And that's, God, how rewarding is that? How amazing is that? To be able to help somebody on their journey, right?
Yeah.
Like, quote is, we're all just walking each other home, Isn't that,
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that,
But yeah, anything more you want to say on that? Because we're going to shift gears here in a second. Anything more kind of wrapping up? Because I don't want that just to, the Tom Kane story just to be about this addiction.
Sure.
Because you're way more than that. However, you're using that as...
my impetus.
Yeah, well, that's your experience for this life that you have to... That's your karma, if you will. That's the shit you've had to use, your grist for the mill that you've had to churn up to make you this being. Other people, it's certain different things, but ultimately we all have to look at ourselves and have that self acceptance. And so being able to use the addiction and then to come out on the other side of it stronger, better than ever, healthier. Still a wise ass, but still.
Oh hell yeah!
Gotta be.
Do you remember the other day? You were leaving work. We had that talk about that situation I had at work, and you.
It's probably in such a hurry.
Well, we both were. I wanted to get out, but
I wasn't completely present for that.
You gave me that look, and started. You had the smile twinkle in your eye, and I had it. We had it at the same time. We looked at one another, and we hugged one another. We both said we love one another. That's the reconnection.
Yeah,
that's when I knew.
Yeah,
and that's the full circle.
Yeah,
that's why I am grateful right here now. And grateful to keep giving away. I'm grateful for my whole life now.
Yeah.
I've never been grateful for my whole life. I was a miserable fart.
It's only in the dark do you appreciate the light.
Man, right? So true. But you got something else?
No, just so the last couple questions I ask, it's usually what I ask most guests are, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'd have to say I'm already there. And when I say I'm already there, it doesn't mean I constantly don't work on myself and work towards improvement, because that's how I become a better me. I don't worry about you or someone else. I focus on working on me.
Yeah.
And what I want to really be, just a better me.
Well, I'm gonna say this: you're doing it every day, Dad, and you're whether you believe it or not, you're definitely an inspiration. You're an inspiration for me, that's for sure, too. Like I said, God knows, what everything you've gone through and dealt with, and just to make it through, on the other side. But also all the people, that you touch, that you help. I know somebody specifically talked about at work a little bit. Mm-hmm. Somebody you talked to help her out. Yeah. But all the impact in people's lives you've made, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's the people you've talked to in AA, just. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't go unnoticed and it doesn't go underappreciated, I'm sure.
I don't want to sit there and tell, how do I say this? By me continuing to focus, surrendering on me, that's how, in surrendering.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am able to do that.
Yeah. Surrender.
That's, and that's the thing that keeps releasing the Pam, the gift. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it, but that's the real deal, is one of my friends, Roger, would say. He calls it the real deal.
The real deal.
I'm blessed all the way around in my life. That's the way I look at it now. Even though these hard, brutal times as we're going through with this virus and all the other stuff that's going on, everywhere I look is a gift. Everywhere around is a gift, from Susan to you guys to Blake, to Jennifer, to
grandkids,
everybody in my life.
Yeah.
And I look around. I'm getting up every day. I'm going to work.
Kicking ass.
I'm able to work out. I'm able to do all the things I wasn't able to do because I was in the way.
Yeah.
And I. So really to answer your question, I don't mean to be
you're
boisterous about this, but I'm already there.
You are, man, and that that's I think that's the perfect answer for
and
you.
I'm getting that off of you.
Yeah,
you're whatever. That's why it's it's all us.
Always. But you mentioned surrender. That's kind of in summary what we've been talking about, is being able to surrender to yourself, to others, and say, I can't do this alone, or hey, I got to change something. Being able to have that accountability, that self-awareness, that vulnerability. Mm-hmm. When you do that, it has such transformative, exquisite power in your life. It's kind of the difference between standing on the sidelines or jumping in the game.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you're finally playing the game.
Right.
Right? And it's a beautiful game. Right. And it doesn't matter how long you were on the sideline.
Mm.
Okay, because all of those times you're on the sideline, those experiences, you were still growing. Right? You were still using them to get you to where you are now.
Yeah.
But now you're in the game, and it's beautiful and ever. However many, plays you have left in the game, you're going to play them to the best of your ability, and you're going to enjoy it, right?
Finally learning what yin and yang means.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
balance.
Was a journey.
Is something we all need more of.
Whoa.
Last question is, what would you go back and tell, that 25-year-old, with the long hippie hair? What would you go back and tell that 25-year-old version of you? What would you tell him? What wisdom would you give him?
First thing that comes to mind would say, like I would say to you, it's going to be okay. I didn't know that at that time. I would also say your feelings they're not going to hurt you to have. You have to, the best thing I could do to answer that question would be to say that knowing what I know now as compared to what I didn't know then, I'd have to say the one thing is it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're not okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It is. When you finally realize the what I didn't realize then, because I couldn't enjoy life then because I was so preoccupied with fear. And I was so preoccupied about the what ifs. And I was so preoccupied about what you thought of me. I knew specifically, but so many people. And I realize now, I was okay then.
Yeah.
But I didn't then.
Yeah.
But I do now. And that's probably what I'd have to say going back, because I've been a scared little boy for so long. Reaching out to get picked up and say, hey, pick me up. Look at me. Pick me up. I've done that all my life, but I don't have to do that anymore because I'm already up.
Yeah.
And it's things like doing this that do that. And I understand that, and there's so many regrets I have. There's so many things I did wrong that I wouldn't do now, and I understand those parts. I mean, in my relationship with you and Tiffany and Travis.
Yeah, my brother and sister.
Your brother and sister, would be so different, but I can't undo that. All I can keep doing is undoing me.
Yeah.
And present that person to you.
All you can do, all you can offer to another human is the state of your being.
Right.
That's all you can do. And let your light be the truth.
Yeah.
Let that be your teaching.
That's right.
Yeah.
They say the actions are better than the words, and that's so true. But there's just something. There's something about that giving without measure.
Oh yeah.
That
without expectation.
You receive when you give.
For sure.
The selfish person that I can be.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Yeah. I mean, we all like having our needs taken care of and all that, but therethere's just something about helping somebody else, period. I mean, God, I really, I don't know where to go further beyond that, because all I can do is today, and all I can do is me.
Yeah.
I can't do any more than that.
So, well, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And like I echoed before, even through our ups, all our ups and our downs, our lefts and our rights and our wrongs.
Yeah.
Like I said, I always knew you loved me and cared for me, and you would, do anything for me.
Right.
And for that, I thank you, Dad.
Well, that works both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that too.
Yeah.
Even in that fog and cloud that I was in called me.
Yeah.
But I knew deep down inside that I loved you.
Yeah.
And an amazing thing about when you start actually loving yourself, you actually start liking yourself, and you're able to love and like even more everybody else. And that's, again, part of the transformation. But God, I love you for so many reasons, but the honesty that you bring to the table, and you helping me remain humble and realize that I'm just a man, but I'm so much more than that too.
Absolutely.
You connect my life and make my life real. And God, I'm proud proud of you. Why wouldn't I be? My God,
Well-
I can turn on Amazon Prime. Hey, there's my son. You know?
Well, you mentioned real, and that's really what it's all about, and that's one of the I guess the thesis for this show is to find real people. There's nothing that I abhor more in this world than people that are just fake,
Phony.
phony baloney. So, you are real. You're as real as it gets. You've lived it, and you're living it. So people that are real, that's what it's about. And I cut through the facade, the bullshit, and get to the realness of it. And you've done that, and you've cut through your bullshit, and you've got to the real of you. So like I said, Dad, I thank you for everything you've done. And I know I probably don't say it enough. Right? Kids, tell your parents you love them.
Right.
Give thanks for the good and the bad. But I'm grateful that you are my dad. I didn't get to choose you. I think about but I'm grateful for you. For everything you've done for me. It's been a blessing, and I think I owe a lot to who I am as a man, as a human, to everything you've instilled in me and are continuing to instill in me. So thank you for coming on the podcast. Obviously, you're welcome back anytime. We can get more jujus and pams and all
That's
that
right.
shit. But I wanna give you a hug.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I love you.
I love you too, son.
All right. Oh. Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
So that wraps it up, guys. This was definitely, I didn't cry as much as I thought I would. But this definitely was, definitely spiritually rewarding for me.
You and me
And
both.
it was good.
You
Good.
know?
It was good discussion. I learned more about you, and I felt like we connected
Yeah.
on a deeper level. So
Sure.
thanks again, Dad.
Yeah.
And guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, wine and wisdom. There it is. Yep.
Don't leave out the wine.
That's right. And how funny though. How ironic
Yeah.
that you're on a show.
Oh yeah.
And we're
Right.
talking about addiction on wine and
And
wisdom.
mine went from this to this.
To that. Beautiful. I couldn't sum it up any better, guys.
Don't know how else to put it.
So that's it. Thanks for coming on, Dad.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thank
And
you. Love you.
we'll catch you guys next time.
Right.
Be well.